Hey, everybody. How you doing? Happy New Year's Eve. And welcome to the grand finale, all right, which is the theme for this new moon in Capricorn. Now, the theme, the vibe is there, but it wasn't originally the grand finale. It kind of just makes sense, but the original theme was no money, big problems, and collapsing entitlement. So, if you were on the wrong side of this moon, let me tell you, okay, we are going to get into the cosmic currency first, which is the astrological breakdown of the transits. And of course, if you know me, you know. If you're new, I'm old school as hell. So this is the chart we're looking at. I print things. I don't know how to screen share. It's not my generation, and tech savvy is not my thing. But that's the chart we're looking at. And then we're going to get into the secret code names, which are Marchamp, Garçon, Flickering Shadow, and Duchess. So if any of those stand out to you, chances are it's standing out to you for a reason. And there's probably a message in there for you. Hey, Risa, how are you? So we're going to get into those two things, the cosmic currency. Hey, Megan. And the secret code names. But first, this is the last event of this year for moon events. And it's likely the last moon event moving forward. So we've been doing these moon events here on the channel for 4 or 5 years now. And my current job, I'm a general manager for my own store. And it is so demanding that I cannot guarantee moon event days off. At this point, I'm lucky I got the ones I did for this. And the last 2 that we did. It's just been so crazy. Your girl put in over 60 hours last week and almost 80 hours the week before. So if that doesn't say it all, when I have time and energy to myself, I like to keep it that way. I'm sorry. But until things settle out with the new store and gain some kind of stability after the crazy record-breaking grand opening that we had, I can't guarantee moon event days. We're not doing them for 2025. This is truly the grand finale. But there will be things posting on the channel. So my members, my channel members, I had 2 previous tiers outside of pineapple patrons, which, hello to all my pineapples. I love you. But I had 2 previous tiers, Divine Rebels and Soul Stars. And for them, I had done like a weekly duality report for the masculine and feminine energy of the self, like collective self, and did them every single week for about 1.5 years, I guess. They were all private to those members. So before I deleted the tiers, I reset the videos to premiere for the same weeks all throughout 2025 and into 2026. So even though I personally may not be live, there are certain energies with the transits as Neptune and Saturn are going into Aries from Pisces, with Uranus going into Gemini from Taurus, with the North Node going into Pisces, right? Where there's this kind of destined energy to reflect on the previous chapters. And so I thought, because my members, they're typically a little ahead of the collective. They tend to experience healings and things like that faster or sooner than other people. And I thought how perfect it is that I have just enough weekly reports to coincide with the transition of these major outer planets and the North Node in Pisces, right? This huge reflection. So for 2025 and into 2026, you guys will be getting premieres of the weekly duality reports of energy past that may be very significant for you to reflect on in the present moment when they premiere. So you guys can look forward to those premiering every week. I believe it's every Monday. For, I think, March of 2025, February or March of 2025 on through like June of 2026. So I will be popping in live when I can. But for the most part, I will still have a presence because, you know, timelessness here on the channel has always been divine timing. So you guys will be able to get those premieres and those energies to reflect upon, not just in hindsight, but in present moment, what you're working through, right? To kind of cinch up and close out these very hidden or secreted sabotaging patterns that we have within ourselves and the people around us, right? That they have within themselves. So hopefully it gives you guys some really deep perspectives over the course of the next year and a half, you know. In the meantime, though, we are very much here. We are very much here. And this is very much the chart of the moment with the new moon in Capricorn. So there's a lot going on, okay? There's a lot going on. We've got Mars here, okay? And opposition, almost perfect opposition to Pluto. It's just a degree away for its second time in opposition to Pluto. And then we have this T-square going on between Saturn, Jupiter retrograding in Gemini, and Mercury, which is now direct in Sag. I'm going to give you some insight on how that fucking turned out for me today. It might give you some insight into how it could play out in your own chart. So we'll get into that. And then we have this challenge from the Sun and Moon conjunction itself. It's in a sesquiquadrate to Uranus and Taurus. Okay. And it has this semi-square to Venus in Aquarius. And I think it's fitting because this is the first real moon cycle, like moon event, that has taken place in Capricorn without Pluto in there for like 18 years. And after this, the cycles of moon events taking place with Pluto and the Sun and Moon in Aquarius start to kick off. Hey, Em, how you doing? Hey. So we're kind of tie up a lot of toxic dictation from within the self and our outer experience and control that is unwanted, right? Unwanted control, whether they are things inside of our own mind that control us or things in our outer experience that control us, right? Depending on where those kinds of things fall in your chart. I think that it should be noted with New Year's Eve being tomorrow, that the Pluto and Mars opposition, it has the potential to be, and you know me, y'all, I'm a Sagittarian. I speak it like it is here, and I just don't sugarcoat things. It has the potential to be extremely volatile and unfortunate. So if you are going out for New Year's Eve or are going to highly populated areas, I would advise against it outright. I would just advise against it. I would change your plans. I would go somewhere nice and separate, away from huge crowds of people or people on the road potentially drinking. Even if you're Ubering, not everybody is. Like, I would just keep it in mind. It has the potential to be disastrous. Okay. Pluto and Mars opposition, with these kind of squares coming from Saturn to Jupiter and Mercury, and the signs that they're in, right? Saturn's in the sign of Pisces, and the dark side of Pisces is, lightly put, drinking like a fish. It's in serious squares. Things can be said and things can happen in regards to traveling that could potentially be a very long 30-year recovery period. So not to like scare anybody, if you trust where you're going and who you're with, and that's where you're guided to be, then by all means, you know. But if something inside of you has been kind of questioning whether or not you should or shouldn't go, or you're not quite feeling it and you're kind of forcing yourself to, like, this is your, please listen to yourself, right? Please listen to that little nudge that says, I don't know if I feel like all this, because you will probably be much more happy and better off if you didn't go, right? With that said, I'm going to give you some insight, because this kind of plays pretty big in my chart. I am at Pisces midheaven. So Pisces rules my house of career. Saturn's there. And that's creating the challenges with the Jupiter-Mercury opposition. Mercury is on my Uranus placement. I have a 17-degree Uranus placement in Sag. And I have Lilith and Chiron wounds in my 12th house, which Jupiter is highlighting. So I woke up this morning, and being a GM of my store, I have camera access and things like that. And I popped it on the cameras at like 7:30, which I don't often do, but something was like, pop it on the camera. So I did. And I ended up calling the store to help one of my employees, because they were using a certain machine that it's just easier if you just do things by hand. It just is. So I kind of let them know, like, it's okay. You don't have to fight with that machine. You can just do it by hand. It'll take you 2 minutes instead of 20, and you'll get a better result. But I also have access to audio. Now, the cameras in the back of the store that's kind of detached from everything have audio, and they are aware it has audio, because I remind people, like, hey, we're back here, the cameras are on. They do have audio access, but the main cameras inside the actual store itself don't, except one. They installed a Ring camera in the actual store that's separate from the other camera system that was provided by the company. And the Ring camera is super sensitive to sound. I could hear the tiniest of sounds. I could hear things through walls like 50 feet away. And I heard a conversation this morning from one of my AGMs. Literally her talking about how I can see things, but I can't hear things. And she was talking so much shit for over 30 minutes, not just about me, but the way things are done, and essentially tooting her own horn like she knows better. And she was a GM at a previous company in which she quit before she got fired. And she has it in her mind that she's going to take my position and she can do it better. Mind you, she's only been with the company like a month and a half, 2 months. And I've been with the company over a year. You know what I mean? Like, I'm more privy to just how things are done and what is needed. And even being a newer GM, I'm just more company aware. And I was floored because she was saying this to certain crew members. Some of them are new. And I was just like, wow, you know, like the revelation of the communication with my Uranus on the current Mercury transit in regards to my house of service, which is my everyday work, and how it affects my career, right? Saturn in my 10th house, and it being secret. Like, she had no idea that I was listening. Literally thought and said it to the other employees. Yeah, Grace can't hear anything. When I was literally listening to her say that, I was like, wow, okay. Okay. So good to know, right? Good to know. And then it's, of course, in square to my 12th house. which is naturally ruled by Pisces, and that's where Saturn is. And it's things that are secreted or self-sabotaging. And I said to myself that I could have a conversation with her and address it, or I cannot have the conversation with her and mental note it and take it for what it is, the reality of it, and look at the long term. And when I was on my phone with my HR about it, I decided it was probably best to just not say anything, because if I said something, it's because I feel like it can be worked on, that it can be fixed. But this woman has kind of said multiple things over the course of time that kind of hint that it's not going to. Like, she'd rather take my position. She doesn't want to work side by side with me as my AGM. She wants my position as GM, you know, saying things like, oh, I took a pay cut to get this job coming out of a GM position. And I'm the best suited for your position if you when you leave. And I'm like, what do you mean when I leave? Like, I'm not fucking leaving, like not anytime soon anyway. Like, what do you mean when I leave, you're the best suited to take my position because you have this experience and that experience? Like, you know what I mean? Like, she said some certain things. And so, you know, the way that she was talking to the other staff, it just kind of, I realized the wedge that was being drawn, and where my wounding in my 12th house is being blown up by Jupiter. Who I was before would have absolutely said some shit. The Sag stellium in me is ready to burn that bridge, no problem. But there are certain things that I need to get in place and be patient about. And so it was kind of this decision, well, if we can make improvement, I'll say something. But I don't believe improvement can actually be made. Her agenda is personal and different from my agenda, which is a successful store with a successful team. You know, it's different. So how that played out in my chart, that challenge, right? That highlight to my Mercury, right? Or my Uranus with Mercury, and Saturn being in the 10th, and, you know, Jupiter highlighting my wounds where I abandoned myself with certain communications. I was kind of able to rain check that energy and reality check myself. And so wherever this is popping off in your chart, especially if you have significant placements between like 8 degrees and 18 degrees or 20 degrees of a sign, especially if it's mutable, you're probably dealing with some surprises, right? So hopefully, and you guys can let me know in the comments, you're not being affected by that T-square. I just so happen to have my places and my very public houses right in the middle of it. So, hey Lala, how you doing? And I think the kicker is, you know, Saturn being in Pisces, it demands control of the subconscious. It demands control of fear. And I'm not actually afraid of, you know, losing my position in the company. I feel very secure in that. I think, and what I expressed to my HR is that the thing that bothers me the most is that I have put so much time and energy and dedication and passion hours into what I'm building with the store and the staff and you know, the team and everything, that to see someone essentially trying to hold a match to it to see if it'll catch fire, like, that's what bothers me. I've put in so much time and energy to have someone hold a match to it and hoping it just, you know, goes up in flames. That's what bothered me more than anything. Like, you don't have to like me as a person, but please respect what is being built. You know what I mean? And who's behind it, and what the whole purpose is outside of just your self-interest. That's what was bothering me the most. But I digress. This transit, you really do kind of have to watch. You do have to watch things being said. You do have to pick your moments and your battles with what is being said, and really rain check yourself with the things that maybe can be held off on and processed internally instead. You know, after I was thrown through that loop and I talked to my HR about it, I took a reset, went back to sleep, and woke up again as if today was new, you know what I mean? And just kind of moved right on through it, which Pisces and Saturn kind of helped using that sleep energy, right? That dream energy that Pisces holds. I think that if you were to let your pride get the best of you, right, with Mars and Leo, sesquiquadrate on Mercury in Sag, that you could probably say some shit out of anger because your pride is hurt, or your passion, right? Because it rules the 5th house, Leo. It's our passion. It's who we are. It's what we represent, and all of the time we put into it. I think it would be really easy with the challenges in this chart to cross a line you wish you could go back and not cross. I also feel that with the square that Uranus has to Venus, and this is where the original title of No Money, Big Problems, Collapsing Entitlement kind of came from. It's that Uranus and Taurus retrograding square Venus and Aqua. There are chances of upsetting your own structure, your own stability because of a whim decision attached to a greater good, and having to kind of dial it back in and say, yes, it is in the greater good. And I expressed this in my HR as well. I was like, yes, it is in the greater good for her to leave as soon as possible, because the longer that kind of energy exists in the store, it's like cancerous, it's cancerous energy. The longer that she's there, the longer it's going to take me to undo all the damage, right? The perspective damage that has ensued with her running her mouth, for her own self-interest. But at the same token, I can't just fire her next week. I can, you know what I mean? Like I can't just fire her next week. So I think there's this need for radical acceptance of stability, and knowing that there is a time and a place for everything, and everything will have its moment, but to act radically and not take the greater good into consideration, or not take the healing of the collective seriously, that it could actually cause some issues, collective work or humanitarian work may also be seriously underfunded at the moment, or your own ability to do things like charitable things may be either more costly than normal, or the money to do those charitable things is just not there. I feel like Chiron in trine to Mercury is Chiron being in Aries, right? Let me re-show you this chart. Chiron being in Aries here, right? Trine Mercury down here. I feel like it's looking to enlighten who we are in the future as a healer. When we heal the self, what we are able to create when we see the long term, and not necessarily focus on the short-term mirror, because the short-term mirror with Jupiter and its detriment in Gemini retrograding, there are certain things that you can't unsay that are wildly unlucky. Jupiter in Gemini is like bad luck, because Jupiter in Sag is great luck, right? It's Wheel of Fortune energy. So to have Jupiter in Gemini is kind of like pulling the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Being in square to Saturn is like the Hanged Man, and being stuck there, right? Being stuck there in that upside down energy because you can't see a way to get yourself out of it. And I think it's important to note that, the healings that we go through in time and with patience, doing the inner work and reality checking the self to keep from repeating past mistakes from a place of fear, I think that would serve us best, right? To learn from our wounds, you know. Chiron and Aries wants to be taken seriously with the healing that's been done. And being in trine to Mercury, it is about thinking and communicating with potential for the future and how that benefits the greater good of everybody, you know. The other thing that this transit is kind of benefiting from is this Mars and Neptune trine going on. Neptune being on the tail end of its most powerful placement in Pisces, and trine to Mars, moving back into Cancer, where this energy is only going to become stronger and only going to become more beneficial as Mars continues to retrograde through the last degrees of Cancer, is about acting on your beliefs and acting on your intuition, and knowing that even if the face value reality is what it is, you still can benefit from listening to your inner guidance system, right? That inner GPS that tells you this is the way, you know, and every time you veer off the route, it's rerouting, you know, it's that inner GPS system, that intuitive GPS that kind of gets you there in the most effective and efficient path. And you can veer off all you want, but understanding your subconscious and allowing yourself to act from that intuitive place instead of being challenged by it or challenging it, going against it. Like, to be completely fair, I did not want to hire this woman when we hired her. I had a feeling it was not going to work out. I just had that feeling. And at the time I was being pressured to just get people hired. Like, you can't just, you know, reject everybody that applies. You know, if they look good on paper, we got to give them a shot. And my intuition was telling me that this woman's a problem. And maybe, and I convinced myself that maybe it was just a personality difference. Maybe it was just, you know, us being just different people, you know, different personalities, different characters, and having to get used to each other. But it's more than that, right? It's more than that. And I'm being shown how listening to my intuition then and putting my foot down about it could have potentially saved me this problem. So, you know, details. I think that this is really a transit about trusting yourself, moving forward, and not repeating these mistakes. And I haven't since. Like, seeing the aftermath of what pressure to hire looks like. I'm being really picky and against certain advice from my higher ups to stop firing people. Your girl hasn't stopped. Your girl has not stopped firing the bad ones. And I'm glad, because every time I've let someone go, it's benefited the team. And I think that that energy needs to continue, and the right people will come along, and that trust and spirit will show itself to be true. So wherever this is happening in your life, remember that there is fortune that manifests through self-belief and the belief in your healing, that you are not the same person manifesting the same shit, and that you are going through a closing repetition of one last time to solidify the lesson so that you really don't carry it forward. Like, this really will be a thing of the past, whatever it is for you. You know, this repeating pattern that seems to be a kind of thorn in your side lesson. You know, Pluto was in opposition to my Cancer moon for the last 4 years, and it's finally moving away from it entirely. But for 4 years, I was dealing with those lessons exact. You know, that's not even talking about the buildup, the 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years of the buildup that Pluto was making coming into opposition with my moon. And I think that that's probably the biggest takeaway, is knowing that you can, in fact, trust your intuition to make decisions. And it doesn't really matter what anybody else says. Like, the CEO is going to run their company the way they want to run their company, no matter what anybody says. They're going to do it their way. your intuition is no different. And you can align yourself with that kind of trust, that self-trust that says, my intuition knows what is in highest alignment for me, what is in the best interest of my forward momentum and what my purpose and path is here and what it's creating. And I'm not going to be swayed by anybody else for any reason, right? My intuition should never be challenged. My intuition is in alignment with me. It is how spirit, higher self, source, you know, guides me in my highest good. Source, universe that loves me unconditionally and would never want to see me suffer, would never want to see me struggle. And when I listen to that intuition, irrefutably, that nudge that says, I don't know, no matter how much the trauma desire wants something, or the logical mind wants to believe and be reasonable, that the intuition really does trump it all. And logic and opinion can only get you so far. It's intuition that takes it all the way and is what drives that successful outcome, you know? So that is the cosmic currency. I do feel that with the Saturn-Pluto semi-square, on just a little side note, that there's a lot of issues from past lives linked to fathers specifically that are kind of coming into play subconsciously as well. Especially too because Saturn is almost in sesquiquadrate to Mars, who is in that opposition to Pluto, and you know it's in square and stuff to Mercury, Saturn that is. And I feel like there's this real pressure, a misaligned pressure to act out of pride, which would be completely hindered, right? The self-control if you're intoxicated, especially over the next couple days, to really stay in alignment. You may be coming into contact with certain people that you've had some negative past life experiences with, and things would come up within the self and bubble to the surface from within the self. It's almost like you don't even know where it came from. You know, it's almost like saying things or doing things and you don't even recognize yourself, because you would in this life would never do that. But it's like someone hit a button and you are someone you don't even recognize. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're a very calm person. You're a very soft-spoken person. Maybe you have a really high tolerance for bullshit. And you cross this one person who is probably a very toxic masculine energy in a past life, regardless of their gender now, but they were a toxic masculine energy or an abusive masculine energy, especially if it's sexual, right, from a past life. And you cross this person and they say the wrong thing, and all of a sudden you're throwing your drink at their face and you're swinging and you're cussing out your fucking mind. And you just like, in hindsight, you're like, I don't even know what came over me. Like, that is not who I am. But it's that kind of reputation that ends up sticking because Saturn, you know, Saturn tends to create things that stick for long periods of time. And once people see you like that, they can't unsee it. And you are not who they thought you were because you weren't yourself, but they can't unsee it, you know, so just be really, really aware of it. Yeah. Get your responses together, because you could be triggered into some crazy shit over ego and pride, and you can intoxicate yourself and take things way across a line that you can't go back on, and find yourself in some really unpleasant or volatile situations. So just hold yourself in check and do a little digging within before you go voicing anything outright. Okay, I would let some of these transits kind of truly taper off before you lose yourself, right? You could literally feel like you've lost yourself and are out of control, and that would not be good. Right? That would not be good, right? The desire to maintain control and that power position over other people is real. So with that, we are going to get into the secret code names. Now, again, the secret code names are Marchamp or Marchamp. It's French. I looked it up. I heard Marchamp because Spirit knew that's how my American ass would fucking spell it in Google search. But it's a French town. So Marchamp or Marchamp. Garçon, Flickering Shadow, and Duchess. Those are the secret code names. I was guided to 3 different decks. They are all new, which I feel is fitting. Okay, they're all new because this really is the grand finale, and we're kind of peering into new energy or future energy with what the vibe is moving forward and what is to come. So I'm using a What's the Vibe deck, from which I did remove 6 cards, 5 or 6 cards I took out of the deck as I was going through it. I took out a couple of the energies that I felt just didn't really embody the topic of the card. And I took out a couple because they were redundant. Like there was another card that was just really similar. I know I took out one because I don't feel like y'all would resonate to that card at all. It was like a nightlife card, like gambling, Vegas, like strip tease. And I'm like, I don't think y'all are there. You know what I mean? If you're watching my channel, you're not there. And then I took out one about like the present moment, because the now, right? The now moment. It was wild because it was a woman that looked exactly like my mother and it triggered the shit out of me. And she was lighting a cigarette on a birthday candle. I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it. So I threw them in the trash. I was like, we're not putting those vibes, right? What's the vibe? I was like, we're not putting them vibes in the fucking deck. We're not doing it. So it's my fucking channel. It's my deck now. I bought the bitch. So we just took them energies right out. Said, nope. Nope. Not today, Satan. Not today. Not today. The other deck that I'm going to be using, which I'm super excited about because 𝐚𝐫𝐞 is my spirit animal. I got a 𝐚𝐫𝐞 tarot deck, which I'm super fucking excited about. We're going to pull a card from 𝐚𝐽𝐫𝐞. And then the other cards for the majority of the reading, we are using the Tarot of Sacred Kingdoms. And it's really cool. The images, if they are not AI generated, are fucking insane. But if they are, they got a damn good AI. So we'll be using that for the main energy of the reading, the insights. And I may pull a Harrow. I think I might pull a Harrow card. I don't know. This is the grand finale, so fuck it. We'll just pull what spirit guides me to pull. I think I'm going to pull my Harrow card. So we're starting with Marchamp. Secret code name Marchamp. Spirit, give me a timestamp. $38.44. Okay. Deep breath, guys. This energy is fucking heavy and intense. And to be fair, it might feel like serious fucking mental fog. Like the inability to fucking people or deal with the different things coming at you. So you are not alone if you're feeling that. Let's see. Let's get these cards out. What is the vibe or the dominant energy that you're feeling with this moon, right? And what is coming from it? Dude, for real, yo. There is not enough fucking Red Bull in the world to perk my fucking brain up. There is not. There is not. This beautiful little unicorn cup right here is filled with Red Bull. I will get off the live and take a fucking Good sleep. I will fall right to sleep. My God. All right. Secret code name, Marchamp. And for those who are guided to it in divine time, right? Whenever it is meant to catch you. The overall vibe for you with this moon. Intimacy. Nice card. Mutual respect, unity, and closeness. Let's see how the clarifying harrow complements it, because you could be intimate with a very wonderful soul or a fucking asshole. Let's see. Oh, we got the marriage card. You might even want to take this as like a 2025 vibe, right? Going into the new vibe. We got intimacy, mutual respect, unity, and closeness, and the marriage. How about that? All right. So we're talking about long Saturn cycles, right? Saturn it represents 30-year cycles. So when we get into the marriage card, it's a lawful neutral card. That's the alignment of the card. Contracted neutral. It's not positive, it's not negative, but it's contracted neutrality. It says the marriage can be a union of people, ideas, kingdoms, or other distinct things. The progeny of the salamander and the water weird shows that a union might bring forth new power from both parties, or it might be a ruinous joining of that which should never have been united. Once wedded, though, the two cannot be parted. This is a card of permanent change. So, I honestly don't get bad vibes off this card. The energy on the card seems very much at peace, right, with the intimacy card. It feels like that place of feeling understood, that place of feeling like you are home. And I don't necessarily mean home the place. I mean home the person. You know, I think that moving forward, the grand finale of all of this energy is probably meeting a very welcomed soulmate. And once you guys are together, I don't see you guys parting. Let's get a Chromie card. Ooh, that came right out. 1, 2, 3 Pentacles. I'm putting them back in there because it's only guided to one, but we'll see, because it's definitely a progress, right? A progression of events. Definitely a physical manifestation, and likely financially stable as well. All right. What is the Chromie card for secret code name Marchamp? The Sun. Positive ass energy. Really positive energy. Whoever this is, it is someone you would have children with. Whether you can or can't is irrelevant. It is someone that you would feel comfortable enough and honored to have their children, right? Someone who feels like home that way, someone who you feel understands you and is committed to you in that way, that you feel safe with. When people feel safe in soul, they would have their children, right? They would have their children. I feel like this person, whatever this is the light, this is the highlight of your life. You know, like whatever your timeline is, even if you think you've reached your peak, honey, you ain't seen nothing yet. There's best coming. There is best coming. Give us some insight. Give us some insight. Into this development, because this is exciting. When Spirit gives positive ass cards like that, that's exciting. So how does this all come about? What is the events transpiring to form this awesome energy? Really, what a way to steal the night. Geez, we're on the first reading. What is the unfolding of events that lead up to this energy? I love that, Risa. We've got... Now, guys, I keep all of my cards in my decks in the upright. So if they fly out in the reverse, I keep them that way. Okay. Give me one more and some clarity. Yeah, people who do not have kind words or are in constant conflict with you, that cycle's closing. The Knight of Cups reversed with the Five of Wands and the World card. That's sealed off. Whoever these unkind or compassionless people, when it's in regards to you, that you find yourself in conflict with them, that's ending. Give me some more clarity on that. Four of Swords, clarifying that Knight of Cups. Two of Pentacles on that Five of Wands. I'm getting this vibe of like they are more concerned about financial topics or financial concerns surrounding you, like these old past people that are the cycle's closing on them. I feel they are more concerned with financial matters than they are the actual thing in play that really matters. You know, like people and their psyche, you know, their emotions and heart spaces really matters. Like they're more concerned with money or money topics. Money is the priority or stability is the priority. And you might be at war with yourself because there's some kind of family tie. You are manifesting from your soul space with the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the King of Swords. I think you're going to end up meeting someone with some heavy earth air energy that lines up perfectly with you. They might have a Saturn placement that's significant to your synastry and have some heavy air. If not some Saturn air in general, right? Or strong Aquarian energy. Because the World card can also be Aquarian. It's fixed signs, right? And dealing with the King of Swords, it could be Aquarius. But I feel like you have people who purposefully withhold positive communications, or their communications are insincere, or they lack care. They just lack caring. And I feel like they leave you conflicted because you feel a certain sense of responsibility to them, especially if there are like family ties involved. But when you close the cycle on that, like you really are free to manifest this beautiful sun, marriage, intimate soulmate who truly does understand you. And I feel like they protect your fire, right? If you're coming through as the Queen of Wands and you're manifesting this foundation with the Ace of Pentacles, they are protecting your fire. You know, they're protecting your desire and soul. They're protecting your manifestation. It's almost like the King of Swords has their hands there, like keeping the wind off the flames, you know. They're protective of you and what you're manifesting, right? Because even that Ace of Pentacles, right? He's wielding that sunshine type orb of light in his hands. They wouldn't dare let anybody hurt you. And I think you manifest them when you click into that energy of, I won't dare let these other people hurt me anymore, right? It's that closing of the chapter. How dare they? Like, how dare I allow it to persist? How dare I do that to myself? That I allow this conflict to persist, that I allow this insincerity or outright meanness to persist. How dare I choose that for myself? And when you close the cycle on that, as a manifestation of self-protection, that further manifests as somebody who would do anything to protect you, right? From these fucking people. Yeah, the Queen of Swords is on the bottom. Your counterparts to the King of Swords, right? You're a counterpart to the King of Swords. I think that you all are in alignment. And I do think they are financially stable because the King of Pentacles is on top of that. With that Ace of Pentacles energy, I think you guys are a really kind of match made in the stars, like brilliant match. So you'll have to let me know how your 2025 pans out. For real, because that's great. That's great. You make some really high aligned choices and let go of some truly misaligned people. And everything else just settles in that place of peace and safety, that place of forever and contentment, you know, where you feel like the person in your life that matters to you the most has that mutual respect and feeling for you, that you are the person in their life that matters the most. It is someone that you would feel blessed to have around children, you know, that blessed feeling. So good for you. Secret code name Marchamp. Maybe you'll move there. Maybe you need to visit there. Who knows? Go take a visit to France. Let's see. Moving on to secret code name Garçon. Garçon is the French word for a male servant type of energy, right? A male who serves in a service position. Timestamp. So let's see. What's the vibe, spirit? Coming out of this cycle, right? The grand finale and the ending, right? The happy ending to all of this energy. Let's see. What is going on for secret code name Garçon? And those who would be drawn to it. What is the vibe? The dominating energy, right? With this new moon in Capricorn. Ooh. So you might really be feeling that Saturnian energy. We got trapped with stuck, no options, or unforgiveness. Unforgiveness, trapped in unforgiveness, or feeling like you have no options, right? Feeling stuck. Let's see what that might be in regards to with the Harrow. Ooh, that came right out. The mute hag. All right. You might feel voiceless, like what you would say doesn't matter. Or you might be dealing with someone who you feel you cannot confront. Or that might be the theme, right? People who cause you some kind of serious anxiety, like naturally wicked people who you do not truly know how to confront. because confronting it is futile, right? The Mute Hag, I believe, is a chaotic evil card. Let me clarify that. Let's get this open. The Mute Hag is neutral evil. It's evil because it is naturally evil, right? The Mute Hag might be silent, but the eye she holds lets her see into the hearts of men. This hag invokes blood pacts and poisonous secrets, the kind that turn brother against brother and son against father. It is a card that performers loathe as it leaves them stumbling over their words and songs. You might be dealing with someone who is causing a lot of fucking problems, either in the background or with the knowledge that they hold. And you feel like you can't say or do certain things because of the backlash or the quote unquote blackmail that would ensue should you step out of line with said person, right? If you were to do something that they didn't like or say something they didn't like and it got back to them, right? If not outright, said to them, they would cause a great deal of fucking drama, potentially knowing things that you wish they didn't know. Okay. And you might be really feeling like you have no options but to go along a certain path because this person is using certain knowledge or secrets as a form of control, right? And maybe you're having a hard time forgiving yourself for even doing or saying the things that they've become privy to, that they gained knowledge about, whether you told them outright or someone that you told them, and you have a feeling they know, but you don't know. And even though you trust the person you told not to ruin your life, you don't trust them. It's almost like one of those things where the best way to resolve that problem is to speak what you wish they wouldn't speak on, to admit it in such a way that they cannot hold it over you. The fact that it is a secret or unflattering to you, that, having it out in the open, you feel like it would make you look bad in some kind of way. Maybe it's a part of your past, like who knows, right? Maybe you did or said something in a moment of weakness that was not flattering or becoming, and you don't want to relive it. You'd rather put it behind you, but this person might know about it. I feel like moving forward, the best way to get out of this person's grip is to expose what you are afraid of them exposing. That is probably my best advice with that combination of cards. Let's get a Kuromi card for you. Clarify that a little bit further, please, Spirit. 2 cards. The Hierophant and the Queen of Wands in the reverse. Now, the Hierophant in this deck is Sag energy, which in the reverse could totally be Gemini energy. The Queen of Wands is a sea Wenty. Like, let's be real. The Queen of Wands in the reverse is a selfish bitch. And she's fucking nasty and doesn't care what she burns. She doesn't care who she hurts. I feel like this is a person who lacks belief or faith in a higher power. Someone who believes that their bad deeds are not seen. They don't necessarily believe in karma. You might be dealing with someone who feels abandoned by God, source, creator, spirit, higher power, whatever you want to call it. They feel abandoned by that higher energy. And so they just act, right? They just act on those inner wounds uncontrolled. It truly does make them evil. This is someone who has broken faith who has shattered perception of the spiritual reality of things and their energy. And they probably had a lot of bad things happen to them. And so now they're just doing and causing bad things for other people because it feels better to deal it than receive it, even if it doesn't serve them to be in that vibration. This is someone who they do not have anybody's best interest at heart. They don't even care about their own best interest. This is someone who doesn't have any sense of pride in themselves. And they don't care if they look bad as long as you look worse. Like, it's that kind of vibe. They don't care what kind of damage they take on doing what they're doing as long as you go down with them. It's that kind of vibe. It's the kind of person like who knows such a secret, like, as an example, not necessarily the case, but as an example. Like, let's just say someone knows a secret about you that you really don't want public because it makes you look bad, you know, or it's not flattering. It might not make you look, you know, horrible, but it's not flattering. And maybe certain people that you're trying to, you know, move forward in life with and benefit through your relationship with them, mutually, right? Mutual benefit, that if they were to know said thing about you, they would look at you different and they might not want to build with you, right? Even if it's not that bad, it might make them question how reliable you are as a person to be what they would hope you would be. Even if she looks like a rat, even if she looks like a two-faced bitch, even if she looks, you know, like whatever, she doesn't care what she looks like, so long as you don't get what you're after. Especially if you spite her in some way, intentionally or not. It's just a perception thing. So it's almost like you're dancing around someone who's on fire and you can't get that close to them. But if you move away from them, it's freezing cold. You know, it's bitter cold. So what do? You know? And that's that trapped feeling. So let's see. How these events kind of unfold for you. Secret code name. You know, the Queen of Wands can even be really jealous. So if you have a certain crush or interest, this may be someone who would sabotage it behind your back. You know what I mean? And say things behind your back if you know, don't call them back when you say you will. Like something small. Maybe you got busy. Maybe you fell asleep, but you told them you'd call them at a certain time and you didn't for whatever reason. They would take it as a personal insult and do some stupid, crazy shit, you know what I mean, to sabotage you. And you wake up like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I literally overslept. I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt you or slight you, you know? But it's like one of those people. There may be some jealousy there. Someone who is jealous of you, especially if they know you're capable of manifesting something that they feel they couldn't manifest. Not that they couldn't, they just feel like they can't, right? Regardless of actual circumstance, they feel like they can't manifest what you are attempting to manifest, right? Could definitely be jealousy. And even if you didn't mean it, I'm just getting this strong vibe. Like, even if you didn't mean to hurt them and they hurt you because of it, like, they wouldn't even feel bad that they hurt you, even if you didn't mean to hurt them. Like, they wouldn't even feel bad. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me make it right. Like, they're not that person. They would kind of laugh under their breath. Like, that's funny. You didn't even mean to hurt me and I just caused this shitstorm for you. That's funny. Like, they're that kind of energy. I definitely feel like the mutable energy is, and the Hierophant's out again. It could be strong Taurus energy as well. Taurus, Sag, Pisces kind of energy. Gemini energy. Definitely mutables. I feel like this person is a sadness teacher. Like, they use sadness as a way of teaching.